You know that black, baked-on crust on the floor of your oven that won't scrub off no matter what you try? Cleaners charge to get rid of it, and the spray they use is mostly caustic soda, the same lye that's in drain cleaner, strong enough to burn your skin. But a brown bottle in your bathroom cabinet does most of the same job for about $1, and all it leaves behind is water. It's hydrogen peroxide. These are 11 things the oven cleaning industry would rather you never worked out. And number 7 finally lifts years of that baked-on grease. Number 1, the recipe that replaces the aerosol can. Here's the whole thing that pricey aerosol can is competing against, and you can make it in about a minute with 2 things you probably already own. Grab your baking soda and your 3% hydrogen peroxide, the standard brown bottle kind from any pharmacy. 2 parts baking soda to 1 part peroxide. A squirt of dish soap if you've got it, that's optional. Mix it into a paste about as thick as peanut butter, then smear it over the inside of the oven, the walls, the floor, and the door glass. For a normal clean, one that isn't a total horror show, leave it on for 15 to 30 minutes, then wipe it off with a damp cloth. The baking soda gives you a gentle grit that lifts the softened gunk, and the peroxide is the part that actually breaks the grease down. One does the loosening, the other does the wiping. One tip that matters: mix it fresh right before you use it, because once peroxide is stirred into baking soda, it starts losing its strength within the hour. So that's the base method, and it already beats standing around waiting for aerosol fumes to clear before you can put food back inside. But before you trust this stuff in the one place you actually cook your food, there's something you need to know about what it leaves behind. Number 2, why it beats bleach in a room where you cook. When hydrogen peroxide does its job, it breaks down into 2 things: water and oxygen. That's the whole list. No chlorine fumes hanging in the air afterward. No slick film you have to rinse 3 separate times before you trust it near your food. And it won't slowly corrode your metal oven racks the way bleach can if you keep hitting them with it. Now really think about where you're cleaning. This is the sealed box you cook your food in. Whatever you leave behind on that surface, you are heating up and breathing in the next time you roast a chicken. Peroxide leaves water. Water bakes off and does nothing to your dinner. There's a comfort factor too. You're not choking on caustic fumes, so you don't have to clear the kitchen and open every window while it works. It's mild enough that you're fine doing this with kids and pets in the house, which is a big deal for the people who avoid the harsh sprays entirely because of exactly that. It's the same gentle stuff people already trust on cuts and stains, just aimed at oven grease. Bleach is the stronger disinfectant for certain jobs, and I'm not telling you to pour it down the sink. But for routine oven grease, in the one appliance that touches everything you eat, peroxide does the work with far fewer trade-offs, and getting the grease off is only half of what it's doing in there. The other half is the part almost nobody waits around long enough to actually get. Number 3, it's not just cleaning, it's sanitizing, but you have to wait. Hydrogen peroxide actually kills bacteria on the surface. It doesn't only lift the grease off the top and leave the germs sitting there underneath. That matters more than it sounds, because think about what ends up on your oven racks and around that rubber door seal. Raw meat juice, splatter off an uncovered tray, drips that ran down and dried. The kind of thing you really don't want quietly living inside a warm, dark oven between uses. But here's the catch the label never shouts about. A quick spray and wipe cleans the surface. It does not disinfect it. To actually kill the germs, the peroxide needs time to sit there and work on them. Give it around 10 minutes of contact time before you wipe. So on the racks and around that seal, don't rush it. Lay the paste on, go make a coffee, come back to it. That 10-minute wait is what actually kills the bacteria. Wipe too soon, and you've just polished the surface without disinfecting it, which is why people still catch a faint, funky smell the next time the oven warms up. Now that everyday paste is only the warm-up. The version that strips off years of baked-on grease is coming at number 7, and it works while you sleep. But first, Number 4 is the mistake that turns a free clean into a repair bill, and it's the one people skip when they rush. Number 4, the heating element rule nobody says out loud. Keep the paste off the heating elements at the bottom of the oven and off the fan opening at the back. The peroxide and baking soda are for the enamel walls, the floor, and the glass. Not the exposed metal element, not the fan vent, and not down inside the bulb housing. If paste works its way onto an element and you fire the oven up, it can smoke, it can stink out your whole kitchen, and it can damage the element itself. That's the part that isn't cheap to replace. And do the entire job cold. Oven off at the wall, fully cooled down before you touch a thing. Never while it's warm, and obviously never while it's running. Here's a bonus most people don't realize. This paste method works fine on a self-cleaning oven too, which means you can skip the self-clean cycle entirely if you want. That cycle heats the oven to a blistering temperature for hours. It fills the kitchen with a burnt smell, and on some ovens the heat is hard on the door seals and the electronics over time. A cold peroxide clean does the same job without cooking your oven half to death to get there. So paste on the walls, floor, and glass, nowhere near the parts built to get hot. But there's one tool people reach for on the stubborn bits that quietly ruins the oven forever, and that's number 5. Number 5, put the steel wool down. A metal blade or a wire scourer on oven enamel or on the door glass leaves fine scratches you can never undo. And scratched enamel doesn't just look worse, it grabs and holds grease harder every single time after that, so you're quietly making every future clean tougher on yourself. The glass is even less forgiving. A lot of oven doors are actually 2 layers of glass, and once you scratch the inside face of that front pane, it's permanent, and it's right at eye level every time you check on your food. There's no buffing it out later, and because the peroxide loosens the grime for you, you don't need to gouge at anything. Let it do the softening, and the burnt-on bits practically slide off. For the stubborn spots, use a plastic scraper. An old bank card works. A plastic dough scraper works. You're lifting softened gunk, not chiseling through hard crust. The whole trick with this method is patience over force. You let the chemistry win first, then you wipe. So the moment you catch yourself scrubbing like your life depends on it, stop, put more paste on, and give it more time instead. Which brings me to the single most common reason people swear this whole trick doesn't work at all, and it has nothing to do with the method. That's number 6. Number 6, the fizz test that explains why yours didn't work. Plenty of people try the peroxide trick, get basically nothing, and decide the whole thing's a scam. 9 times out of 10, the problem wasn't the method. Their peroxide was dead. Because hydrogen peroxide doesn't last forever. It quietly breaks down over the months it's been sitting in the cupboard, especially if it caught any light or any heat. And flat, broken down peroxide cleans about as well as tap water, so before you blame the method, test the liquid. Pour a little onto a greasy spot or just into the sink. If it fizzes and bubbles up, it's alive and it's working. If it just sits there flat, like water, it's finished. Tip it out and grab a fresh bottle, which again runs you about $1. That fizz is literally the oxygen coming off the surface, and that fizz is the cleaning. No fizz means no cleaning. It's the first thing you should check, and almost nobody does. So test your bottle before you count on it, because once you know it's actually alive, you're ready for the big one, the method from the title that finally clears years of baked-on grease. That's number 7. Number 7. The overnight method that lifts years of baked-on grease. This is the one from the title, and it's the exact job the pros bill you hours for. Everyday grease wipes off in half an hour. You saw that back in number 1. But the black carbonized crust on the floor of an oven that hasn't been properly touched in a year does not surrender in one pass. This is the specific mess people give up on and pay someone else to deal with. Here's the move. First, a thicker coat. Really pack the paste onto the burn-on areas. Don't be shy with it. This isn't a thin smear anymore. If you want a little extra bite on the very bottom where grease pools and burns hardest, Work a few spoonfuls of lemon juice into the paste there. It helps cut the grease and it kills the smell. Then, and this is the part that makes the whole thing work, spray the surface of that paste with more peroxide so it stays wet and walk away. Leave it overnight, call it 12 hours. And while the oven's soaking, drop the wire racks and any burnt trays into the bathtub with baking soda, peroxide, and hot water, and let them soak overnight at the same time so everything's working at once. In the morning, most of that crust has gone soft. Wipe off everything that lifts. And now the step almost everyone quits before. Whatever black stuff is still clinging on after that first wipe, hit it with a second coat and give it another 12 hours. One overnight soak rarely takes off a full year of buildup on its own. What it does is loosen the top layer. The second application is what actually removes the layer sitting underneath. Skip that second round and you'll swear the method only half works, when really you just stopped one step early. So yes, it's 2 rounds and a bit of waiting, but that's $1 of peroxide and some patience against a caustic spray and a hard scrub, or paying someone to come out and do it for you. For years of baked-on grease, that's the trade, and it does the heavy lifting while you're asleep. Quick thing before we keep going, if a cheap fix that actually works is your kind of video, go ahead and subscribe because the whole channel is stuff exactly like this. Now number 8 is the one that can genuinely hurt you if you get it wrong. Number 8, the vinegar trick, and the version that can hurt you. There's a finishing trick that makes everything shine, and there's a version of that same trick that can genuinely hurt you, so you need to know the line between the two. The good version: once you've wiped the paste away, mist the oven surface with plain white vinegar and wipe it again. It fizzes off the last of the baking soda film and leaves the glass streak-free and clear. Here's the line you do not cross. Do not pour peroxide and vinegar into the same bottle and keep it for later. Mixed together in a sealed container, they form something called peracetic acid. That's a corrosive that stings your eyes and your lungs, and closed up in a bottle, it keeps building pressure until the bottle can actually rupture. So use them one at a time. Peroxide, then wipe, then vinegar, then wipe. Out in the open, with a window cracked for airflow, and gloves on if your hands are sensitive. Never blended into one bottle, and never bottled up for next week. Used as 2 separate steps on the surface, they're completely fine. It's only the mixing and storing that's the problem. And one more that is not up for debate: never mix hydrogen peroxide with bleach. That combination makes chlorine gas. Using one, then the other, on a surface is fine. Mixing them together in a container is how people end up in an emergency room. So keep them apart. And speaking of doing more harm than good, there's a mix-up people make trying to squeeze more cleaning power out of this, and it can land you in the same place. That's number 9. Number 9, why stronger peroxide is a trap. Someone always asks the same question. Won't the stronger stuff clean better? What about that 35% food-grade peroxide? No, and reaching for it is a fast way to hurt yourself and damage your oven at the same time. The plain 3% brown bottle peroxide is all you need for this job. Food-grade 35% is more than 10 times stronger. It burns skin the moment it touches you, and it can strip the enamel coating right off the inside of your oven. And that name is a con all by itself. Food grade does not mean it's gentle, and it does not mean you can drink it. It just means it skips a couple of stabilizers, and swallowing it does serious internal damage. Poison centers have real cases of people badly hurt after being told it was safe to take. Now, if the strong stuff is genuinely all you can get where you live, you can bring it down to a safe strength yourself. 11 parts water to 1 part of the 35%, and it lands right around the 3% you actually want. 2 rules if you do it. Always add the peroxide to the water, not the water to the peroxide. And wear gloves the whole time you're handling the concentrate, because at full strength it will burn you. Stronger isn't better here. The cheap, mild 3% bottle is the right tool for the job, which makes it worth knowing why half of those cheap bottles quit working before you ever finish them, and how to stop it. That's number 10. Number 10, the storage mistake that kills your bottle. Remember the dead flat bottle from number 6, the one that wouldn't fizz? This is exactly why it died. Light and heat break peroxide down, and that dark brown bottle it comes in is the only thing protecting it. So the mistake people make is decanting it into a clear glass spray bottle and leaving it out on a sunny windowsill because it looks tidy. Do that, and you'll gut its strength in a couple of weeks. Keep it in the bottle it came in, or in a proper dark spray bottle, somewhere cool and out of the light. A closed cupboard is perfect. A hot garage or a sunny shelf is the worst place for it, because the heat does the same damage the light does, just faster. And if you want easy spraying without the hassle, just screw a spray trigger straight onto the brown bottle itself. Now you get the convenience without ever exposing the liquid to light. One more small thing, buy it in a size you'll use up in a few months, rather than one giant bottle that sits half full for 2 years slowly turning into water. Store it right, and a bottle lasts you for months. And the simplest trick on this whole list is also the one that quietly puts the oven cleaning business out of a job. That's number 11. Number 11. The habit that puts oven cleaners out of a job. Baked on grease isn't one event. It's weeks and months of splatter left alone until it carbonizes into that hard black crust. It only ever gets that bad because it gets ignored that long, so don't let it get there. Every couple of weeks before anything bakes on solid, wipe the oven down with the peroxide and soda paste, give it 10 minutes, and clear it off. Do that, and the crust never forms in the first place. No overnight soaks, no caustic aerosol in open windows, no booking someone to come out and charge you for the privilege. There's an even smaller version of this. After a big, messy roast, while the oven's still slightly warm but cool enough to touch safely, give the worst splatters a quick wipe with a peroxide cloth right then, before they ever get a chance to carbonize. That quick 30 seconds saves you the whole ordeal later. Because here's what the whole industry quietly runs on. People waiting until it's a disaster, then paying to make the disaster disappear. The fix was always a $1 bottle and 10 minutes every couple of weeks. Don't hand them the disaster. And if you want the same trick for the burn-on rings around your stovetop burners, that one's right here.